Time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? I was hoping by now I wouldn't have to do a follow up on the man with the 450 grand a year comb over, but apparently I do, because after my last one on Trumpster in the dumpster, maybe I should have known that, in some areas I learned from the very beginning never overestimate the intelligence of your own audience, or at least parts of them. But sure enough, people with too much time on their hands began sending in comments that I was a commie and Bernie Sanders should be put in a nursing home. And, that they were supporting Trump because he was a rebel and leaving it at that. I mean, rebelling against what besides lack of attention for himself? I don't know. But we have today I learned conservatives aren't allowed to listen to music they like. And then then one is accusing another anonymous person with, of course, anonymous names, too chicken shit to use their own, as somebody who is anti-American and anti-white. And then the same one that Black Lives Matter harasses white people for no good reason, beat on them, kill them, defame them, threaten them, and somehow wonder why they always get arrested. And of course, don't tell me Jello sympathizes with crazy Muslim terrorists. Well, no, I don't sympathize with Christianist terrorists or white supremacist bigots either. And I repeat, that is what Trump is. Donald Trump is a serious racist. Just ask his buddy David Duke or all those neo-Nazi organizations coming out of the woodwork doing robocalls in different states telling him to support Trump. One of the main Ku Klux Klan people publicly endorsed him. Trump didn't, and it wasn't Duke, this was earlier, and Trump did not repudiate this at all. And meanwhile, what do I find but right by the cash register at the San Francisco airport, right before Christmas, a Donald Trump coloring book. Right by the register, so little kids aren't going to see it, but the adults may want to impulse buy it. I'm going, I can't. But then I figured it was like somebody trying to make goofy mainstream Disney fun of Donald Trump. Well, no. Well, there he is in a Superman suit, followed by Pledge Allegiance to the Flag, presumably he's president by now, followed by Cat That Ate the Canary in the Oval Office, I'm making me great again, whatever. And let's see what else there he is on Mount Rushmore, presumably in place where some people have tried to put Reagan over the years, saying, oh yeah, that forest on top can be his hair. Right. I was always hoping that Halliburton would get hired for that and then do such a typical Halliburton job that all of my Mount Rushmore collapsed and they had to give it back to our First Nation Native Americans and all. No luck yet. Donald Trump in Congress just pointing to everyone, including theoretically Ted Cruz, and saying, you're fired. Don't forget, before they started bickering, Trump was touting Cruz as his vice president. I want you to join me in making America great again. No, this is pro-Trump. There he is crossing the Delaware. You can color it in. And then followed by USS Trump, a battleship firing at who? North Korea? Or maybe Putin? Or maybe firing at Syria and missing and accidentally hitting Israel or our own soldiers instead? Meanwhile, he of course has time to hang out with Oompa Loompas, little more down to his level maybe, but there he is playing chess with Putin. He'll show him. I mean, my vision of if Trump actually does become president, there he and Putin are riding bare-chested on horses somewhere in the Russian steppe, and the wind blows Trump's comb over to one side, and finally the Samson thing takes effect, and Trump is toast from that point onward. But then once he's done with the battleship, here he is about to drop a nuclear bomb somewhere in the Enola Gay, and then finding time on the very next page to crown another Miss USA while probably banging 10 other contestants behind his wife's back. And then now the plane, of course, is called Trump Force One. And there he is standing at a no entry sign for the United States, just like David Duke would want him to do. And then Trumpsy the Riveter, we can do it. Let's make America fascist again, while Trump rocks out with a flying V to the sound of what? Neil Young before Neil Young objects, or Aerosmith before they object, or who knows? And if you don't want further proof of what a goddamn racist Trump is, by the way, here's an article from the September 7th, 2015 issue of The New Yorker on the collapse of the economy of Atlantic City with ghost casino towers with the name Trump on them, among other things. This is interesting from an employee of Trump's castle, as it was called. Quote, when Donald and Ivana, wife number 3, came to the casino, the bosses would order all the black people off the floor. It was the 80s. I was a teenager, but I remember it. They put us all in the back. In other words, hiding black people so Donald and trophy wife number 1 didn't have to look at them. It doesn't get any more gut level, sick, bigoted, racist than that. Again, the problem is how much of this racism is being spread and unchallenged. You know, being that Weasley about David Duke should have sunk him, but instead we already have the people in South Boston who beat the crap out of a Latino homeless guy, breaking his nose and then pissing on him for good measure, and then telling cops or whoever, maybe even news people, that Trump was right. And then we have the incidents in Iowa where high school basketball fans chant Trump, 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 Trump to hex out another team from another town that is more racially diverse. So, what I forgot to say last time, and I'm going to say this time, if they're really that desperate about stopping Trump among the repugs, and I'm not so sure they actually are, well, they're not going to call for it. Hillary's too chicken and corporate and spineless to do it. So this leaves it up to Bernie to finally come out and say, hey, if you really don't want him to be a nominee, you could always expel him from the entire Republican Party now.